Years back when I was in high school, I had an experience that came to make sense a few years ago. At the end of every term, my physics teacher would come and pose a question. You have been running around the school for a whole term. Apart from the school regulation requiring you to do so, why were you running around like headless chicken? This came to make sense a few years back when I was making a choice of what I'd like to do and the impact I'd like to have in my lifetime. You may have had moments in life you asking yourself, what is your purpose and why are you even on earth? These are some of the questions you can't avoid in your 20s. What's your vision? Welcome to The Identity. My name is Samuel Mangi, and behind me is an able panel who are going to help us understand what the power of a vision is. Welcome to the set, guys.
Thank you.
From my far left, Brian Soanya. Welcome to the set.
Thank you.
Next to him is Winnie Kiamuto.
Thank you.
Next to her is Florence Onsando.
Thank you.
And lastly is George Omanya.
Thank you so much.
You guys are doing great.
Very good indeed.
Welcome to the set. Now, from my early discourse, I gave out a personal experience that I had. I don't know if, Soanya, have you had that experience? Probably in high school, where you didn't know exactly what you're going to do.
Yes, I had an experience of which it was tough to make a decision, but at the end, I had to make a decision because life had to move on. I had that decision to make on which career to go and study, and I had to work hard to get a grade for that career. So that's how much of a crisis I had.
That's how much of a crisis you had. Okay, that's nice that you can actually confess about it. Winnie,
Yes.
have you had that also dilemma?
Yeah, I think every youth faces that dilemma, especially when you don't have a mentor. I didn't have a mentor at that particular age. I was so confused. There was so much noise. You just want to do things because your friends are doing. So I made a lot of choices because other people were making it. It's not because I wanted them or wanted to do them or wanted to pursue them. It's just because there's a lot of noise in the background.
A lot of noise in the background. Okay, fine. We'll get to know what that noise is.
Yeah.
But then now going to the discussion that we have, power of a vision. Probably it's about time we interrogate what is a vision. George, what's a vision?
Oh, good. That's a good
Wait,
question.
do you have a vision?
I have a bigger vision.
Wow. Okay, so no.
Broad.
Let's
I have
start
a vision statement.
let's start with what is a vision first.
Okay, a vision is the final destination where you're going. And we say sight is a function of the eyes, but vision is a function of the heart. Yes.
Okay, that left me lost somewhere. Kindly enlighten me. What exactly do you mean?
I'm saying, with the eyes, you can't see. But there are things that you can't see beyond a point. At a point, you can't see what's happening on the other side. But vision, that's why I say it is a function of the heart. Yeah? You can actually see what will happen in the next 50 years when you close the eyes.
Could I be wrong?
In
if-
other words, vision is long term. It's where you want to be.
Yeah.
But you cannot have a vision unless you have a mission. Why are you here? All right?
Okay, no, let me even bring in further. You said something that you want to see, something that you want to achieve, let's say in 50 years. Is there a difference between a dream and a vision? Because I mean, we'll all fall back to the great philosopher who said, I have a dream. So is there a difference between a dream and a vision? Florence?
There is a difference between a dream and a vision because a dream may not be based on reality, but a vision is based on reality. For you to have a vision, you must know why you exist, and then you must have objectives of how to get into that vision. And then you set your targets on how to get there. So vision is a long term, but you must know the reason for your existence before you set your vision.
Soanya, you wanted to add in something?
Yeah, a vision is like a master plan, and a dream is like a fantasy.
Yes.
Okay.
So before you come up with a vision, you must have a dream. In your subconscious mind, you must develop that thing you want. Then it comes to your conscious mind is when you develop a vision. So a dream, you can even have it when you're sleeping.
Okay.
And some
Keep
people
on
never
sleeping.
wake up.
Yeah.
I mean, if people will be watching right now, will be like, are you guys throwing away my statements? Your dreams are valid regardless of where you come from. That's what she said.
They are valid if you actualize them.
So, okay.
They are invalid if you don't actualize them.
Okay.
So the bottom line is putting them into practice.
Okay. Interesting. Interesting. Now, Florence, I mean, you're a psychologist by profession. I want to believe that, well, we can have dreams which are again on and off, but vision, as we have said, it's something concrete, something that we envision to have. Are there things which can hinder me from even having a vision? Or does everybody have a vision?
Ideally, everybody should have a vision.
Ideally.
But some people don't have. They live, and whatever comes their way goes. For example, if you do not know where you are going, any road can take you home. So some people do not have visions. They just live at the moment. And that is detrimental.
George, you run a mentorship program.
Yes.
Do you meet these kind of people who don't have a vision?
In fact, in every audience I have, nearly 98% suffer from lack of vision. And not just vision,
That
clear vision.
That's a startling statistics.
It is true.
Okay, how?
I was in one of the national schools just a few months ago. And I was speaking to Form 4s. And I was amazed. That majority are suffering. You know, they don't have a clear vision. Yeah. So it is very possible that we could even be here today, and yet we still don't have vision. And that is why you gamble. You start betting with your life. You know, whereby you are not sure. Is it sure bet, goal, or what? You know, those gambling things. Yeah, so majority live on the gambling age, while that is why we have mentorship programs, just to help you shape your destiny, so that we take you on the track, so that at least we help you reach that destination. Exactly.
Winnie, I'm left to wonder, is there anything important about a vision? I mean, if you think about life, I'm just out of ignorance. I'd be saying, you know, there's a lot that happens in life. You know, you can actually have a plan, a logical plan of a sequence of how life is going to happen. But alas, life happens and it tells you, okay, you guys, relax. Is there an importance of having a vision?
Yeah, it's very important actually to have a vision. I like the way George put it. It's a matter of the heart. And the Bible actually says where your treasure is, there your heart is also. So your vision is supposed to be shaped according to where you want to see yourself. And sometimes it will not happen, because sometimes, you know, you've set yourself maybe for goals of like 5 years, you're telling yourself this is my vision for 5 years, then things don't happen that way. But you know what a vision is meant to do, is meant to give you motivation. It's meant to create your passion in a certain line, not just to bring you down. When you notice that you haven't achieved whatever vision you had for, let's say, 5 years, don't give up. It's a way to motivate you to keep on going, to build that passion in you.
Somebody watching will say, you're talking about a goal. Somebody will just say, you're talking about a goal. Florence, what do you think about this? Is there possibility that a vision will not actually come to be as you have planned?
Vision is long term. And so you figure yourself, like in Kenya, we have vision 2030. And we are saying by the year 2030, we should have achieved certain things and we should have put certain things in place. And for your vision to be realized, you must also have what we call evaluation. And you have milestones so that they are short term. For example, in the next 3 years, where do I see myself? And then if in those 3 years you have not reached the target that you set, you evaluate yourself. And that's what we call SWOT. You look at your strengths, you look at your weaknesses, you look at your opportunities, and you look at the threats. And then you say, maybe this vision was too huge. Maybe I need to reduce it. Maybe I need to put more effort. You are doing evaluation so that you can achieve your vision. So you can set a vision you don't achieve. You can also set it too low that you overachieve. And so we need to have all those things in place.
Let me try and borrow in from experience. Wanya, have you probably had an experience that you had a vision that didn't come to be?
Yes.
Would you mind sharing with us?
I had a vision of having a business while I'm studying university. But when I came to university, I had no time for that business, so it went and died. So the problem was that time.
The time.
Balancing my time between class and the business, and I also play soccer, so juggling between the three. So I chose soccer because the more you train, the more healthy, and books.
Okay. Yeah. Did it cause any sort of imbalance, emotional imbalance in you?
Yeah, it caused a lot of emotional imbalance because when you read about people who have achieved, you see people achieved at 18.
That's true.
They had a business. That was my vision. By 20, I was saying I should have a business, I should be a CEO. But the reality check beckoned in.
I see a problem there because many times we have young people becoming hopeless, distracted, and they almost give up because they compare themselves with others, just like Brian is saying. And we forget that each one of us has a path to follow, right? So it is important. I hope when you reach that stage, you realize you are not everybody. You are Brian. And that doesn't describe. If you do not achieve that vision, you shouldn't give up and say, I am a loser. In fact, it's a time for you to awaken and gather new energy to move forward.
Interesting, George. There's something that Florence said, and I'd like to bring you in, something about having unrealistic visions. And how real is a vision then? I'm just left on how real is a vision?
That's a very tough question.
And I'm happy that I'm asking a tough person.
Yeah. Thank God you're meeting me here. Not all visions come to pass. And sometimes we confuse visions and goals, and even missions. You know? When we talk about a vision, like what Brian was aiming at, you know, that was a goal, a target. You know, you wanted to, by that time you shall have achieved that target. You know, a vision. But when your life is done, what do you want to achieve? When we take you to the grave, what kind of person do you want us to take to the grave? Yes, that is the vision. Your entire life, what are you going to convert it to become? You know, do you want to be the best teacher in the world? Do you want to be a known business person? You know, yeah. So by the end of the day, sometimes we set, because you know there are components of a vision. There are ingredients that makes a vision. Yes? So majority, some of us will exaggerate these ingredients. Let me ask you right now. If you prepare, I love omelette. If you prepare a good omelette and then by mistake, you add a lot of salt, will you eat it?
Well, it will be very hard. I won't champion throwing away food, but it will be very hard.
It's very hard. I know, because you can't wash it again. Now, we need to be realistic. And that is why the smart aspect comes in.
Wait, for somebody who's watching, you have actually given us already as a tip of actually the SWOT and there's a SMART.
SMART, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So you have to be very specific. It must be measurable. It must be attainable, you know, within a time bound. So by the end of the day, even if you have failed, you go back to the drawing board. But it is something that you can carry. Because one thing, if you have something big, very big that is exaggerated, I'm telling you, you are going to be worn out.
No, you know, when you talk about big, I don't know what big is.
You see, I want to die a professional footballer. Yes? And yet, in primary, I didn't play football. Okay? And then I started going to the pitch in Form 2. Yeah? Yes, you can still become a professional footballer. But look at your age, you know? You ask yourself, is it realistic? By the way, if I realize what I'm holding at, you know, a tender age, that could be part and very good ingredient to my vision.
Okay. So if you're starting too late, then there's a possibility.
Yeah,
There's a possibility.
there's a possibility that you can achieve it, but again, you have to really strain. You have to really strain. But again, don't distract yourself. I know even if you don't realize who you are right now, but there is at least something that you've been passionate about, something that you've been doing, you know, that thing can be a very big ingredient in your vision.
Florence, you wanted to jump in and add some insight?
No, I wanted to say that when you set your vision, I talked of the word SWOT. It's important you look at your strengths and your weaknesses.
Yes.
I liked the example he gave of a footballer. If you have never played football, how can you be the best footballer in the world? You see, you need to look at your strengths. And that's why we need to understand that you and me, all of us, we are different. When you want to be the best you want to be, it doesn't matter whichever area. You just need to do it based on your strength.
Let me just come in and ask you a pertinent question.
Yes.
If not for every young person, maybe that's just me. I had envisioned my life. By the time I'm 23, 24, 25, I'm done with school, probably even master's or PhD. I have a car. I'm earning really well. If then I'll be having a wife, God willing. But then here I am now. I don't have a car. I'm not married. I'm very single, and all these things. Are you telling me that these visions, so to speak, were not informed in a wise way?
They were not informed in terms of time bound. For example, at 24, you cannot have done your PhD unless you are one of those geniuses who skipped classes. If we follow the natural trend. Then, so if those things have not happened, then it's time you sit with yourself and have a meeting and ask, where did I go wrong? Don't classify yourself as a failure. Look at yourself as somebody who did misguided plans. And then it's time maybe to get a mentor, somebody who has walked on that path, and you walk with this person guiding you. Let me tell you, all of us have been through that age. This quarter life, all of us have been through it. Nobody can jump. Nobody can skip that age. But how psychologists say, how you navigate one stage lays the foundation for the next stage. And this quarter life, we call it intimacy versus isolation, where you are forming relationships, where you are chatting your career life and things like that. And if you did not navigate the other stages as you grew up as a child, then you have a problem even chatting your way forward. And so getting a mentor, somebody to walk with you through this stage, is very important. And I suggest you wait one. I can be yours.
Thank you for the offer. Like, why shouldn't I take it right now? But then you also brought in an element of comparison.
Yes.
And when you look at the social media right now, you'll see guys who've made it big, really big at their 23 years. And I'm like, well, if you look at the circumstances, there are some similarities.
Are you sure they made it big, or what they put on Facebook is the life they would like to lead? It's very important we know. You know, we have this, what they call, the grass is greener on the other side.
Yeah.
And usually people put on Facebook the life they would want to lead. And you who is looking at it, you think they have achieved. I might be wrong. Brian, what do you think?
Most of my age mates, or let's say my age cocoon, they tend to display, I say, public display of achievement.
PDA, public display of achievement.
Public display of achievement. They have achieved less than what they display. But you find somebody, due to low self-esteem, due to lack of acceptance of what you have, due to lack of being contented with what you have, you want to be like somebody, so you post like somebody for you to be accepted in the society. So that problem is what brings the crisis in many of the Kenyan youths and most of people around my age.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can stand beside a Mercedes and call it mine?
Yeah, that's
course.
actually what they do. They feed some of us with what we want to see. Photoshop actually. Nowadays there are softwares where you can just put yourself next to a beach, act like you're in a vacation somewhere, put yourself next to, a beautiful car that you always admire to be, but in essence it's not yours and you're just wishing you'd be in that position. Yeah.
Okay. You want to add something, George?
If you want, go far. If you want to go far, don't compare yourself with people.
With others.
There was a time I used to go back to my rural area, and Mom asked me, "Why are you not married? Why not married? So and so is married, so and so."
All your age mates.
They were even telling me, "You don't have a house at home. What's up? Look at everyone here. All your age mates, the people you went to school." Then I told them, "Mom, I know they are my age mates. Yes." Who passed on. Right now they're in the grave. Yes? Why don't you compare give me the comparison, And she saw the sense. My friend, everyone must learn to run their own race. You are in your own track, okay? The best thing is to have that focus of where you are going. That is the broader perspective, Because I can't compare myself with my classmate, yet surely I was like told, go into the world and make it a better place. Because after Form 4, no one is there for you to take you to college. It is you to work hard, get into college, and become who you want to become. And that was it. So I didn't compare myself with other people. And that is why today I'm a bit happy. I'm a bit happy. I have peace with myself. Yeah, because when you look, by the way, social media will always distract you even from, your mind. You will see people posting very huge achievements, landmark of achievements. But in the real sense, that's just the hustlers around on the ground.
But even if they have achieved, that is their path.
Exactly. Yeah?
So I like what Paul says, that it's important to be content. He says, I have learned what it is to be in need. I have learned what it is to be in plenty. But the most important thing is to be content. And the only way to do that is to go to your Creator. You see, the other day, my kettle broke down. I bought it from Ramptons. I don't buy very expensive brands.
No, yeah, right.
Bought it from Ramptons. And so I went to Ramptons. They're on Mombasa Road. And I thought they wanted to change the element, only to tell me the switch had a problem. Why am I saying that? Because we are created by God Himself. And for us to have our purpose, for us to know which direction to go, we need to go to the Creator, which is very important.
Very true. And if you come to think of it, even as we go for a break, it's safe for you to compare yourself with yourself. Compare yourself with yourself. But then, even in that, sometimes you'll be having a challenge in dealing with your failures. Let's talk about this even more after the break. Welcome to the identity. There are two pointers, rather two tips or acronyms that we've been using for the first part: SWOT and SWOT. Kindly let me say it again. SWOT: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I got that right? Yes. Okay. SMART: that is specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. Those are some of the tips you need actually to, if you're thinking about your vision. Now, to bring you in, Florence, there's a young person who had this vision, you know. Let's say by 23 or 28 or 32, I should have achieved something. But then somehow, life happened. And they're suffering from what you call failure, if that's a disease. Have you seen that in a professional ground?
When someone fails, that's not their definition. They are not failures. What they've done is actually realized their mistakes. And as I said earlier, it's time for them to sit back and look at the causes, why they did not achieve their goals. Number one, they look at why. Number two, then they set new goals so that they can move forward. For example, someone in a relationship realizes, I'm mark timing, I'm not moving forward. And it's time for this person to ask, am I the problem or my partner is the problem? Sometimes we find young people changing their relationships or moving, changing their jobs or moving from their home to a new home because they are saying this place is toxic. But at the end, you see, there's a saying we have, you can remove someone from the village, but you cannot remove the village from them. So it's time for this person to sit, as I said, have a meeting with themselves and find out why are these problems coming and then set new targets. Number two, I said, time to get a mentor who can hold your hand and walk with you. It might be your parents. In fact, young people, if they sat with their parents, they will be so surprised. For me, I had wanted by age 20 to be somewhere. What I did not want to be was a teacher.
Okay.
When I was in university, I didn't want to be a teacher. I did not know what I wanted to be, but I knew I didn't want to be a teacher.
You knew what you're not.
Yes.
Okay.
My father was a teacher. Most of my other siblings were teachers. Guess what? During my time, you finish high school, you are called to university. I was called to Kenyatta University. By then, Kenyatta University was for teachers. So I became a teacher. But you see, these are things you can change later. I tried to do MBA and wanted to be a business person and do strategy and things like that. It didn't work. I ended up being a counselor much later. If I started measuring myself with others who knew what they wanted from day one and they took off, I would feel like a failure. And as I said, some people will start building their families early and then they go to school later. Others will go to school and then build their families. So we need to know which path is my life taking.
Very true, very true. Now you see, Winnie, you said when you are trying to look at life and where you want to achieve and all these things, you had multiple interests.
Yeah.
Do tell.
Well, when I was younger, I'm still young. When I was younger, I had a lot of things in my head. And as I said, a lot of noise from a lot of people. Things that I wanted to do myself, which were also confusing. Maybe I can just say them. I wanted to do medicine. But then there was a lot of noise in school, so I chose things like engineering, you know, things like piloting and stuff. But I didn't do those things. When I went home, there was a lot of noise about doing marketable things, you know, like let's Google, let's search the newspapers and get marketable things. It's not what I wanted to do actually, but I ended up doing something that I didn't really like, but because it was just marketable and the newspapers were talking about it, I did what the newspaper wanted me to do, but actually I don't think it is what I purposed to do, even if I didn't know at that particular time. But I just learned to take it in and use it to point towards my vision. Like use it as my stepping stone towards my goals and visions. But many times our visions always stumble and break down because we don't have goals. We just say, you've had many young people say, I have a vision, I have a vision. They don't even tell you what their vision is. They just tell you, I have a vision. But you never see them working towards their vision. You never see them laying clear their goals and their objectives. Because, yes, you're telling us, I want to see myself there. But how do you want to see yourself there?
Interesting.
Yeah.
George.
Yes.
Now, this only brings about a question. How do I get to deal with the multiple interests that I have?
Good. Multiple
Interests.
Did you know that not even a single person present here was born to do everything? We were not born to do everything.
That's true.
And for sure, you can't do everything. And that brings me back to the gambling policy, you know, whereby you want to be this, you want to be this, you want to be this, you want to be this. You may have different talents, different gifts.
You might be multi-talented.
Exactly.
Uh-huh.
I'm good at MC, good public speaker, very good preacher, good teacher, and a good lecturer. And you see, again,
All those things.
I'm very good also at the trainings, okay? Especially on business and customer care stuff. But what is my brand? What is my, am I known for? You know? When you talk about Mr. Manya, Austin, George, what is coming in your mind? What are you known for? If right now, if you talk about Messi, football comes. He's known for that, okay? So you may be gifted, but again, if you want to go towards that destination, find that one thing, that strong thing in you, the strength, nourish it. You will go very far. I know others could be like ingredients, okay? But what is going to take you far is that one thing that you can do so well. There was one writer who once said this, that if today I'm called to be a street sweeper, somebody sweeping on the street, I'll sweep the street so clean that when angels descend from heaven and look at the street, they will say, there lived a street sweeper. You see?
Wow.
Which means I realized who I was, what I was holding, that one thing that was above the rest, and I nurtured it. I'm telling you, you can be the best in the world in that area that you want to pursue.
Wow. Interesting. Now I want to bring you in, Swanya. You see, growing up, again, being millennials, since they probably went through this and they are now strong in their own fields, maybe, I don't know. I'm trying to look at it. Were there hindrances at which you faced? You see, like with the vision that you shared earlier, you said you had time constraint issues. Do you know of other issues, that are other challenges that you went through that probably could be a hindrance to somebody who probably had a same school of thought of you?
Yeah, there are a lot of hindrance. First, we start with the peer pressure and the peer mindset. So that's a problem which is there, and every youth and every young person cannot run from. Secondly, that culture, the African culture and mindset. Now let me use the word mindset, because if I use culture, it's
a broad aspect.
It's a broad word. Mindset. The mindset we have as Africans, we are the users, not the developers.
Okay.
So most of people study or work hard to be the end products, but don't work hard to be the developers of something. The third one is education system. We are taught a lot of things that we don't use. So by the time you are in your 20s, you're confused. You have learned science, you have learned business, you have learned everything you need to know. But were you guided in a proper channel? That's why you find a crisis after Form 4. The next thing is competition. Competition is always there. From the time you start nursery primary, high school. After there, competition is done. Now you come to the reality of life. The reality of life is what you make is what you get. As simple as that. Competition is done. Nobody's number one, nobody's number last. What you make, the bed you make is where you lay on.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, if you think about it, he's actually made very many points. Very many points. And wow, I think we should actually, you know, me to be content.
Okay.
But bring you in, Florence. I mean, if you think about it again, as young millennials, we are exposed to very many things. Could be psychological, could be social, could be moral. How can we be able to navigate through these hindrances?
You know, we are living at an age we call information overload. There's too much information from all perspectives. Come from the media, from the church, from your family, expectations, societal expectations. All those voices are there. But I think for a young person to succeed, you need time to think through your life. Take stock of your life. Who am I? Where am I now? And where do I want to be? That's very important. Let it not be in your mind. Let it be written. Something that you go back to and you check every so often so that you know where you are and where you are headed.
Should it be written with pen and paper, or you can just, you know, put it on my email, you know?
During my time, we used to write pen and paper.
There's actually power in
E-
writing.
Even, thank
Physical
you,
writing.
physical writing. In fact, when I talk to young people, which I do quite regular, I tell them, write your vision, put it by your bed, so that you see it in the evening when you go to sleep, you see it in the morning when you wake up and you're going out. That gives you a sense of purpose and a sense of direction. Number 2, have time with your maker.
Make time and have
Because he's the one who will tell you which direction to go. I like one verse in the Bible. I love the Lord. So the verse that says, the word of the Lord is a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my path. That God may guide you and make your path ever so bright, even as you navigate this journey called life. Because life will and does happen, whether you like it or not.
Very true.
And some people, because they don't have direction, you find, he talked of peer pressure, you find they are misguided. And that's why, like now, we are dealing with young people who are involved in gambling. They think they will make it big and make it big one day. And they are involved in gambling. And what has happened? They've borrowed left, right, and center. They have Mshwari, Mkopa, Mkesho, Mkutwa, Mjala,
and all these
all of those M's. You know, and that is a challenge for young people. You go to what we call CRB. You know what CRB is? Credit Reference Bureau. We are finding young people now registered in CRB with a loan of 20 shillings. Do you know how that affects their life? Now, right now, if you apply for a job, I'm glad you have one. If you apply for a job, they go to CRB. Do you have a loan? CRB says, yes, they have a loan. They don't say you had 20 bob, but you knew you had 20 bob. You miss that job because you are at CRB. So the job opportunities have gone bad. Then we find young people changing their phone numbers every so regular because they are borrowed. Now they can't pay. They want a new number. And all these things are affecting young people. What happens when you are gambling and you are not making it? Then they get involved in drugs. Now we have young people in drugs and not having a way out. And so it's time really to write down your vision and write down how to get there. And those are strategies.
Interesting. Interesting. Wow. There's something that Winnie had said I'd like to bring you in, George, in reference to background noise. And I don't know if I'm right, but let me coin it in this way. How will you get to deal with people who criticize your vision? Because if you think about it, you'd want to be, the best of a particular.
Good. Let me give you a scenario. There was a car that was lying in the garage, and the dogs love, hiding under the car. They sleep there comfortably. So one day the owner said, let me check, and I want to make this car. It should be back on the road. So he did all that he could. The day the car got out there, the dog started barking. I'm saying this. People are comfortable with you if you are an average person. If you do what they do, they will be very comfortable with you. Very comfortable with you. Even your own siblings, they're very comfortable with you, especially when you can ask for a token. I mean, yes, they will be very comfortable. The time you are focused on your vision and they see you working and straining very hard to reach there, they will tell you, hey, look here, hey, you can't make it. You can't make it. So it is high time you should put something in your ears, okay? And you have the clear focus of where you are going to. Because I know people, by the way you want to go there, if people don't support you. People must support your vision. But those people who will criticize, criticism is good. By the way, it makes you even work very hard, Yes. So those people will help you even work very hard and go there. But you must have principles. By the way, you have principles of vision. There are principles of vision that you must follow. If at all, you have to get there. So ask yourself, am I following this principle? Yes. Let them say what they are saying. But I have to work very well because God knows very well where I'm going to. So no distractor.
Kindly mention those principles for the benefit of the viewers watching.
Principle number one, very important, clear focus.
That is a teacher. Kindly, if you're
Yes.
watching, take a pen and a paper. The teacher has begun.
Clear focus. I must have clear focus. You see the hurdles, it is 3,000 meters hurdle race. There are hurdles there, okay? And the rule of the game is, the rule of that race, you must maintain your track. You see, that's your line. And of course, there are barriers. There are barriers. But I know the finish line is there. The finish line is there. I have to jump over this barrier, and I know I must emerge a winner there. You must have a clear focus. In fact, what I'm saying here is, clear focus means goals, clear goals, objectives, okay? And mission. By the way, mission is the purpose. Why you are doing that thing, okay? To get there. So these things must become very clear. So that by the end of the day, you are there. Then another principle, passion. Not passion fruit. Passion. Something that trigger you, you are seated and it tells you, no, do this. You can do this. It brings the adrenaline, Passion will make you achieve wonderful things in life. It will make you go there. Passion, even if I've fallen today, I've failed today, okay? Passion will refuel me. And I'll find myself on the track again, running. Yes? Even if I've fallen today, I know tomorrow is a very good day for me. Then, because there are 12 principles, but I'll just mention 3. The last one, which is very important. If you want to go quickly, go alone. If you want to go far, go with God. My friend, if you leave God in what you are doing, you could be having a very good vision, written by your bedside, you touch it like the painter teach, But by the end of the day, have you involved that man up there? Without God, you won't go very far. Tell him every day, God, you know what? I must be the best, any renowned business person in Kenya. I must also be one of the tycoons. Yes?
Why not?
I can't become the president of this country. Yes? I want to be the best in athlete. You know? I'm telling you, you will go there.
Amen. Amen. We are coming to a close. I don't know why time is quickly running, but I'd like to give everyone of you an opportunity, even as we finalize on. Now, I'd like to give also Swanya a moment to think and also advise, if there's a guy who's probably relating to your story, how they can make their vision concrete and the power of that same vision.
So the first way to make your vision concrete is knowing yourself. And how do you know yourself? The first thing you should know about yourself is your ability. How much you can achieve, how much you can handle. It's the same way you take food. You cannot bite something you cannot chew. The second thing is time. Your time. So you should prioritize your time, what to do and what not to do. Thirdly, the friends you keep around. They either make you or break you. Fourthly is what you put into it. So you cannot be praying for a vehicle and you're not working hard to get money to buy it. So the effort you put in it, let's define it as effort. That's what can make your vision concrete.
And that's what has made you actually complete your engineering course in school.
Yeah, it's still, now I'm in the field and I'm still learning. I'm not yet there.
Amazing.
Until I design my own plane, I'm not yet there.
Amazing as well.
Vision.
That's an amazing vision. You actually have, amazing. Thank you so much for sharing us your insights and your vision. Winnie.
Yeah. Well, it is very important to have a vision if you're watching, because even the Bible says, my people perish because they lack a vision. So it's important to have a vision. And as Florence has just put it, it's important to write it down actually, to have a vision board where you wake up and look at it. And if you're passionate about it, as George has said again, you will always have the drive. If you look at it every morning, you spend time with God and tell God, you know what, this is where I want to go. If it's according to your will, drive me to this direction. If you look at it, by the way, there is power in writing. And if you look at it, you'll always push yourself to go for it. So go for it.
Thank you so much. Florence.
When you have a vision and you do not achieve it the way you want, you have not failed. Quarter life is a time that people form lasting relationships. People chart their way in terms of career, where to live, which house to buy, and things like that. It happens. But if you do not achieve it the way you want, when you want, don't define yourself as a failure. Look, it's time to sit and have a meeting and set new plans and new strategies and a new vision on how you want to get there. So let nobody remain stuck and confused and even give up because something that they set out did not come. For me, I think it's even good that you realize you did not achieve what you had set, because it's time to start again. Because we serve a God of second chances. Every time we do not achieve, it's time to re-strategize.
Amazing. Thank you for strategizing that last strategic statement. Whew, thank you so much, Florence. George.
Self-limiting beliefs. Okay? You should really work on yourself. Let me tell you, it is very possible. And I still repeat. Luke chapter 18, verse 27. Jesus said unto them that whatever is impossible with man is possible with who? Is possible with God. Which means if I give God the first priority in my life, you see, I'll say, okay, you are the one who can strengthen me. I know I can get there. There is nothing that you cannot achieve. Human being. The brain is just a vessel. Yeah? No, the brain is not a vessel to be filled. It is a fire to be ignited. You see? Yeah. Then, lastly, patience. Be patient. Okay? Things will not work like tomorrow. You wake up in the morning and you have the swimming pool and a bungalow. It won't work that way. Okay? It takes time. By the way, good things take time. Yes? So let us wait upon the Lord, and at God's time, you will get there. What you need to do, keep working on yourself. Keep improving every day. Keep learning. And before you know, you'll get there.
I just wanted to add that
Yes.
we need to stop relying on emotions. In fact, at this age, young people are usually more emotional than rational because our brain, the frontal lobe, which is for executive function, develops up to age 24.
Can you
It's still developing.
repeat what you said about emotional and rational? Kindly. That is your camera. Please say it again. Young people are what?
Young people are more emotional than rational. And so it's when we write down and we read what is going on in our mind, then we put it into perspective. And so we need to be careful how we deal with issues. Because emotionally, when you feel you do not achieve what you want, you give up. And so we need to use our frontal lobe. However much it's still developing, but we need to think through our actions and and whatever things that come our way.
Amen.
Yes.
Yeah.
Amazing. I mean, a lot has been shared. And if you think about it, I don't have much to say because they've exhausted everything. But then, even within this same period that we've been actually doing this, I've been having two, I think, straining stories that have been running through my mind, and I don't even have the time. One, the first story is about some gentleman called Charles Bukowski. This gentleman was a famous writer, and his tale is very interesting, whereby he had a passion of writing, but then he used to work in a post office. Now, this gentleman used to waste all his money in drinking, pretty much because his vision, his plan of being a writer was never accepted, never come to fruition. He used to write articles, but different publishers didn't want to publish his work. When he got to the age of 50, there's a young publisher who actually decided to take a risk with his work. Then at that moment, this Charles Bukowski actually wrote to this publisher and said, you know, for the past 50 years, I have been wanting to be a writer, but then I have to struggle with the dilemma of, one, either become a post office person and waste all my money in drinking, or two, be a writer and starve. He took the shot of actually being a writer, and his works I read all over. I'd be wise to be, again, passionate with what you want to do. Doesn't matter how many times, even as Florence has said, failure is not the end of the road. There's power in a vision if only you commit to it. That has been the identity for us today. Until next time, stay safe, stay blessed.